and welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I am your co host, Michelle, and today we have special guest Lee Smart with us. Thanks for being here, Lee.
Hey, thanks for having me. But I'm curious, like we've had a discussion quite a bit about where you've come from and how far you've come.
Mm.
What's the next step?
Mm. Oh, gosh, what is the next step? I mean, I hear being seen still, like that's what came into my being. I'm amplifying that in the now. I used to hear being seen like my intuitive hit, right? Like be seen, and that used to terrify me and it used to bring up the fear of judgment. And now I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I really am good with who I am and you can take it or leave it. It doesn't bother me. That's not to say that if you're a friend and you leave, it doesn't hurt. I'm not saying I don't get wounded. I'm just saying like if I'm not for you, I'm not going to try and hang on to you. So being seen more and more, what that looks like, I'm still dancing that dance. I'm trying to figure out what that looks like. But I think this is part of it. Doing this podcast, people will be like, oh, you and your son should start a podcast. Yeah, I'm not doing that. You and your son should start a podcast. Yeah, I'm not doing that. You and your son should start a podcast. It's like I heard it so many times. I'm like, oh, hang on. I'm pretty sure this is like literally my divine guides like yelling at me right now. I need to start listening to this in a new and different way. And then it was like, hey, Andrew, you want to start a podcast? And he was like, yeah, I would do that. That sounds fun. And now he's busy and I think it was just it's evolving and he'll come back when he can. So it's not so
Mhm.
much the Michelle and Andrew show anymore, but I think it's evolving. And the whole thing is like my intention with the podcast with my son was for my son and I to connect and maybe give a viewpoint to the world of like adult son and mom and what that dynamic might look like and how we show up in the world together. And maybe that supports someone in some way, but I get to connect with my boy. And now it's like, how can this podcast help others help themselves? How can we serve and impact in a way that is useful and helpful? And I always say, like, reach out, tell us what you're struggling with and what you want us, what would be helpful for you. We'll talk about it. I got people, I was in Thai massage for, over a decade. I got a lot of people and connections in the healing world and now in the coaching space and in energy work and intuitive work and all the things. It's like, I want to have conversations. Let's do it. And let's have conversations that help people, that inspire them to do something they wouldn't have done yesterday, simply because
Mhm.
they heard someone else who's done it and they lived through it. I think I used to think I would like it would kill me to do certain things. And it's like now I'm like, yeah, I think let's dance, you know, let's give it a shot.
So,
Let's see what happens
so the next step is to put yourself out there into the world more.
in a lot of different ways. And this book, I will tell you, dude, writing a book,
Mhm.
so much more vulnerable than I thought it would be. I've written books, but this one is like the book, it's like the
Uh-huh.
the me book. But the
Yeah,
me book
yeah.
in service. And damn if it's not like I have moments where I'm like, oh, there she is. She wants to be seen. She needs to cry. We're gonna let her cry. I'm talking about myself in the third person, but like
Mhm.
legit, like there's pieces of me that are just like, oh, this one's for her. Okay. Okay. We're writing this chapter for her. Let's do it and I get to hold space for myself, which is such a weird duality and a strange thing to say. But I've evolved enough in my work that it's like, I had a friend, he was like, you see yourself in triggers. Like you catch yourself when you're in a trigger. Most people don't do that. And I was like, I suppose. I mean, I guess I didn't really think about it. But I hear him saying it to me and I'm like, huh, I'm really grateful for that. That was a skill that took a lot of time to get to. And I'm not saying I catch myself in everyone. I'm sure they still sneak up on me, but I do catch myself in triggers a lot.
Mhm.
And that's a beautiful thing. I like it when I'm in a trigger. It means I got work to do, you know?
Mhm. You ever done any ally or archetype work?
Mm-mm.
Mm.
Just dance with it a little bit. But no.
Okay. So I'm curious if we start to look at different figures in your life that you've managed to draw on, either I don't care what, a fictional figure or historical figure or somebody you really, really look up to, and like what comes to mind right now?
My main teacher. She changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's evolved. How I view her has evolved over time. And I love that too.
hmm So when you start to think about putting yourself out there into the world and being seen more often and allowing yourself to be an open book that's anybody can read. What does she have to say about the situation?
Mm, I love that you asked that question. She's proud of me. I know that. Uh, yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind, and that makes me smile. Like I kind of want to pause in that for a hot second. Uh, because where I started and where I am now, like she and I have had conversations about that, and those are fun and funny too.
Mm,
We giggle about it. Yeah, I think she'd be proud of me. I think she's humbled and honored that she was such a big catalyst and piece of not only my journey but also my healing. I think I think she's not only grateful about it, but also like I think she's also proud. Like that is her passion and mission is to help people help themselves as well. I had her on the podcast not that long ago, and when we spoke, I was like, damn, she sounds an awful lot like me, which means I sound an awful lot like her, because she was my main teacher. It's like I learned so much from her and also I evolved into who I am and how I show up. Like we are different. And I love that she gave me the space for that. And um, I think she loves that our relationship has changed too and that now she gets to witness me, not only witness me, but we also get to support each other in doing the hard things. She's evolving her business and there's growth in that, both personal and professional. And then she's witnessing me do things like write a book and stopping doing the thing that where I started, which is also interesting. Uh, just interesting. Yeah. She makes me light up from the inside out. Like
yeah.
I cannot even explain how much that woman has done for me. And just how she shows up in the world. I love that she's human and not afraid to show it.
Hmm.
So many teachers and coaches aren't willing to show their human side. They think they have to be above, and she's willing to come right down there with you and be in the dirt and the shit and know that like she gets that it's hard. Why? Because it's hard for her too,
Hmm.
and she admits it. I love that.
Somebody that actually admits they're not divine. I love it.
Yeah. And
What's what?
also is ridiculously connected to divine and
Yeah.
like lives her truth in that.
Hmm.
I love it.
What is her name?
Tanya.
Tanya?
Tanya Boygan's on. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. So now that's on recording that somebody can go look her up rather than
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wondering.
Yeah, and she was on the podcast not that long ago. There's two
Yeah.
episodes with her, I believe, so you can hear our conversation there too. But yeah,
Cool.
she's a magical human to me. She holds a special place in my heart and always will.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's such a key point about what we do. It's like it's not that we can't get there on our own,
Mm-mm.
but the depth and the speed at which we can get there if we have somebody as a mentor is so much more. I don't know. Not only is it faster, but there's more to it. There's like a better quality
It goes
of having that
deeper.
mentor. Yeah.
They call you out when you lie on yourself. I mean, you say you can do it alone. I'm like, can you really though? I'm not so sure. I mean, I think you can do
Right.
you have to do it alone on some level, but you're
Mhm.
not doing you have to have support. I'm not sure we can do it alone. I think we lie to ourselves. I think you need someone to call you on your bullshit. And I think finding the people that have the tools from the traditions and educations that work for you is huge. Heck, I resisted half of Tanya's traditions when I first met her. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. That's not my thing. Now I do all of them.
Uh,
Not all of them, but I embraced all of them. I align with all of them. They're not necessarily all my personal practice. And the thing is like I've really deepened my spiritual practice and I feel super connected and trust my intuition and all those
mhm.
things. And even with that, I'm still human and I still need humans to help me when I'm stuck and lying to myself and even here's the other thing. It's not even just about like when you're lying to yourself. It's like picture like a hallway of doors and you're like only opening the first three and they're down there at like door 57 going, hey, this one over here, I really feel like this one will be good for you. keep going. Like, come down this way. Like this door is like your name is on it. I can see it. I'm down here. I can read it. Like it's calling to you. I legit need you to stop door one, two, and three for a hot second and come over here to this one because this tool, this what's behind this, the
Yep.
people, the experiences, the tools, the wisdom, all the things that are there at that door for you. I never would have got to door 57. Like I
Uh-huh.
was stuck at one, two, and three. The
Uh-huh.
only way I get there is when someone else says, "Hey, I got this thing and I really feel like it's for you. Are you open to trying it?" I'm like, heck yeah. Unless my
Uh-huh.
intuition is like, heck no, I don't know what's off about this, but something's off about this. Can we have more conversation before we go there? Like, I definitely sometimes need some time to tread water, you know?
Uh-huh. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not sure where exactly to take this coaching session.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw it in your court.
Yeah.
What would be helpful for you?
I mean, if I'm being honest in the now, uh, our conversations like this, where
Uh-huh.
they don't necessarily even feel like coaching, but I know that it feels to me, and I don't know where you're at, but it feels to me like both of us are doing like deep soul level stuff in this conversation. It's not even about like you coaching me and me coaching you. I think sometimes having peers that are doing similar things and just having quote unquote simple, nothing about this conversation is simple, but deep dive conversations, there's something about that without the label of us coaching each other that sometimes opens more doors than if we're going in with our coaching hat on. I think sometimes there's a pressure there when you have your coaching hat on. There's a pressure like, oh, I need to give her a profound aha moment, or I need to give him like I need to introduce him to his inner child, or you know what I mean? There's a mission or a goal. And sometimes for me, having playful, deep dive, intentional conversations like we're having today is the most impactful. Like I already have a nugget like in our conversation, like in my head, I'm like, you brought me to like what my dream was in the beginning. And I talked about sailing with Dan. And up until today, I'm just like, whatever, I'll get to my physical body when I get time. And it hasn't been at the forefront. But like I connected that with my dream with Dan today. So like I have a different motivation. Like, I don't know. I've always been like, whatever, my body is my body. I'm grateful for the vessel, but I've never super loved it. I don't hate it, but it's just there. You know what I mean? It serves its purpose. And today I'm like, that fucking my physical body is attached to my freaking dream of like being able to explore with Daniel and not holding him back because I'm quote unquote injured in some way that makes whatever we think we're going to do now because of how we're showing up today. You know what I mean? I don't know. So like already I'm like, well,
I
this is a
so
huge
love that you
gift.
pointed that out.
It's a huge
So love
gift.
that you pointed that out. So I'm wondering if that's like a piece of your saboteur speaking whenever you think that you, as the coach, need to be the one that has the answers when you show up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know that I'm just saying as humans, we do that, right? Like we show
Mhm.
up and go, I'm here to help this person. Let's dance. I mean, yeah, I think I do better without a rigid plan.
Mhm.
I like to see where we go. Did I think we were going to go today about a sailboat in my physical body? Fuck no. I just figured like let's find an obstacle and go there. Right? Like when we say we're going to coach, that's what I think. We're going to find an obstacle. We're going to find your pattern. We're going to go to the wound. We're going to look at starting to heal it and we're going to move on. Like that's how I do my coaching. Right. But I also don't do it with that rigid structure. I'm like,
Right.
I want to hear where you're at today. And then I'm going to listen on all energetic levels. That's how it works for me. Right. But I think when you and I talked about this, like we labeled it, we structured it a certain kind of way. So I was coming in thinking, okay, first he's going to coach me and then I'm going to coach him. And it's hysterical because like you and I don't tick that way.
Mhm.
We don't. We're different. Like we're different in how we show up. Like you coaching me and me coaching you happens every freaking time we talk.
Mhm.
It's just how we work. I don't know. It's cool.
There's so many principles you brought up there that knowing your past, you haven't been trained in coactive coaching, but these are principles that we talk about in coactive coaching. One, whoever you're talking to is naturally creative, resourceful, and whole, and you
Mm.
have to treat them that way. they can very much so find the resources to solve their own issues.
Yeah.
It's the more you try and set yourself up to be that hero, to be the one that has all the answers, the worse you're going to perform.
Right.
Number
Right.
two, dance in this moment.
Yeah.
Play with whatever shows up. It doesn't have to be. Yes, there is a skeleton, but we show up at the skeleton, then we hang meat off of it, however is necessary. So that's such a huge part of it. To being open and just knowing that whatever needs to show up will.
Without a doubt. And whatever's ready to show up will, I mean, my degree is in child psychology, never used it, quote unquote, never used it. Taught preschool, worked in music college, used it all the time, but never officially used it. Right. And then
Mhm.
all the living traditions taught me one thing or another, and then life experience. And I just think too many times we go in with our own mission
Mhm.
when we're looking to hold space for someone else. And all that does is get in the way. That brings our mess into their mess. And that just is so not the goal of what we're doing. And
Mhm.
I think what we're really doing, like if you want to just like bring it into super simplified, like nutshell thing, we're being and inviting others to do the same.
Mhm.
That's it. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
that's it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But you're not being if you're hiding. You're not like there's all like legit just you're just quote unquote just you're being. You be, which is so stupid simplified that I don't like it. But also to get rid of the other mess, to really understand that we're all here with similar, like humans aren't all that different. Our stories and our pain points might be very different on how we get to our blocks, but the blocks themselves are all pretty similar.
Mhm.
And how we get into and out of them is the dance that we get to explore.
Yeah. Too many get too many people get stuck on what actions do I need to take to move myself forward.
Yeah.
And if you back it up to who do I need to be to take care of this problem, and you think about what identity do you want to bring to this situation, the action steps literally appear out of nowhere that like that. Whenever I'm in
Yeah.
a difficult situation, who do I need to be in this situation? Who do I choose to be in this situation?
Yeah, I like that. I say, how do I want to show up? How do I want to show up today? How do I want to show up for this podcast? How do I want to show up in this conversation? How do I want to show up as a teacher? How do I want to show up? And the thing is I always want it to be in congruency and in like in the line with who I am. Like who I am is me, and how I show up needs to not be some version of myself that is outside of who I really am. Because I used to show up in that way. Where am I going? How do I stay safe in this safe or in this space? I put on this hat. That's how I stay safe in this space. Where am I
Mhm.
going now? How do I show up in this space so that I feel content? Well, this is the hat I'm going to put on. Most of the time it was hiding. Or being loud and obnoxious because I was putting my foot down and not going to take the bullshit. You know what I mean? It was like none of that was how I really wanted to show up at all. Like, what if we don't shy away from the difficult conversations? What if we ask the hard questions? What if we're honest when we answer said hard questions? And what if we actually say we don't know when we don't know? So that gives us a chance to explore so that we can find out.
Mhm.
I don't know.
It's practicing our values so much so. Like you brought up indirectly. Well, you did say honesty, but that was such a huge one. Like being honest with yourself, being honest in your conversation, showing up authentically. Like this mask has to come off, and we've got to put
Yeah.
it to the side and be us. Because I actually thought of a quote by Mr. Jeff Purdue Atkins. Every time I've what was it exactly he said? Dadgummit. Every time I've hidden a part of myself, it's cost me.
Mm, that's big. Yeah.
Yeah. If we dive into your body, what does that look like?
Mm, yoga.
Okay.
I'm outside of my yoga practice. It's funny. I literally have a class with my teacher recorded. I think there's 4 different classes that I could have started months ago, and I haven't. And I keep telling myself I'm going to, and I keep not doing it. It makes me giggle. Michelle, seriously, freaking do the thing. Uh, and I haven't done the thing yet.
Now that we've tied the your dreams to your physical well-being, how likely is it that you will do the yoga?
Yeah, I think that's a different thing to the point where, so it's like I'm even thinking about like later today or tomorrow. Usually when my voice is like this, like my breath is hard and I tend to not work out because it makes me cough more and I'm so tired of coughing.
Mm,
But to the point where I'm just like, yeah, but if you did some yoga and some breath work with your master teacher, by the way, maybe just maybe some of this shit would get moved out of your energy body and it would actually do some good versus some harm. So I'm already in my head going, oh yeah, I'm gonna catch my like I'm setting the intention that I'm gonna catch myself when I resist it because I can't breathe right. That is exactly why I need to do it. And until today, I haven't gone there because I really do. I'm like so tired of coughing. It's so like, I just want to go sleep. I just want to go sleep and be done with this coughing thing. Um, so I resist everything that brings
mhm.
me into coughing. And in the now, I'm just like, yeah, you're going to catch yourself in that bullshit lie and you're going to do some damn yoga. That's what you're gonna do. And it might
That's
not be that sequence, right? Because we'll see. I'll see how they are, but she's intense, in a good way. And she tells you to listen to your body and all those things. I mean, she honors it. But like I'm a pitta, which means I'm fire, which means if there's a hard sequence, I'm gonna do the fucking hard sequence because I won't lessen it because I know that about myself. I know that's how I show up. Like that's why I get injured when I have a personal trainer because I like do the things. I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. And yeah, no, you knew you couldn't do that. Why are you doing that? Um,
uh-huh.
so it might be a different, like, not as intense sequence, but damn sure I'm starting my yoga practice again. My asana. I live my yoga on some level or another, but my asana, my movement practice within yoga, I have not done in a very long time. And let me just tell you, my hamstrings and my shoulders and my back and all the things are feeling it. My
Mhm.
body is happier when I'm doing my yoga. And I've been putting everything else first. And now you disconnected it to my dream. Damn it. So that's a different thing. Yeah, right?
Da-da-da-da-da.
It's a different
There's
thing.
the
And
there's
quite
the
frankly,
magic.
like it's not hard for me to carve out time to do it. I just tell myself I can't or don't want to.
Yeah.
Like that is me lying to myself. Full disclosure, I am aware.
Emotion makes motion, right?
Yeah, I gotta have a reason.
Yeah.
Like it's gotta be in my soul, it's gotta be in my heart.
There's no
And it's
such
there on
thing
my
as not enough
radar.
time. It just means there's
Mhm.
not enough priority.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So then we
So I
start to
thank you for
ask.
that gift today. That was huge because I literally like when I was like, what is my biggest obstacle right now? And I literally went to my physical body because I am worried about strength. I'm
Uh-huh.
not even worried about it, but I would like to build some strength. Like I feel good when I'm strong in my body. And I haven't felt that way in a little while because I prioritized other things.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
many great things come from physical exercise. Just there's that bit about we if we know we need to do something and we don't do it, it's kind of hard to be okay with yourself because then all of a sudden
Oh yeah.
you quit trusting yourself one
Yeah.
little bit at a time, right? That trust bank account starts to empty out,
Yeah.
and self-trust is so important.
Yeah.
Um, so personal anecdote, when we went to Nashville, I picked up some kind of upper respiratory thing, and it was nasty. I had just all kinds of allergies, sinus stuff happening. It got in my chest. So we left Nashville at 7 p.m. Sunday night, drove all night long, made it to my house 5 a.m. the next morning, hacking and coughing and
Oh
snot
no.
and everything. Um, Went to CrossFit and did my CrossFit workout at noon.
Nice.
Absolutely miserable. It was such a terrible workout.
Yeah.
We had a run. I kept stopping in the middle of the run to hack and cough and spit all that stuff up. And
Yeah.
when I got done, I had the nastiest cough because I was like my lungs were on fire. I swear I could taste blood. It was so
Yep.
bad. I went to bed that night, got up the next morning, it was all gone.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yep. It's amazing.
And I think about when there's some form of a problem, it's like a wound.
Yeah.
And to avoid those wounds is to cause them to fester.
Without a doubt. And it's funny that you say that because as you said it, I was like, oh, I totally know what I'm doing. So I mentioned I'm a fire, right? So
Mhm.
for me to pause is not, it's not true anymore that I'm doing the work, but like pause is harder for me than I like to be in motion. I like to do things. I like to, I like to burn it up, so to speak, right? So it took a lot of effort for me to allow myself a pause. I would just go, 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 and then I would get sicker and sicker and sicker when I used to get sick, right? So
Mhm.
there's an old story I'm telling myself that I have to force myself to be kind and gentle and like give myself grace because I'm sick. But, and I think I've crossed a line into the point where it's like, yeah, but you can't give yourself grace forever. It'll never move. Like you have to actually like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm telling myself that
Yep.
like you do too much, you do too much and you don't give yourself enough pause. So your body is telling you to pause. So freaking pause. It's like, yeah, but I've had this since the 19th. Like,
Mhm.
do you know what I mean? Like I can't not move for that long. Like it's not like I never move. I walk, I do, right? So my body has literally been quote unquote stagnant
Yep.
since the 19th. Of course, I'm still gunked up, right? But I'm telling myself that like the fiery girl can't be fiery while she's sick. She has to be
Yes.
gentle and
I'm
pause.
actually wondering if I
It's
didn't give it to you
hysterical.
in Nashville just from us being in close
Yeah,
proximity.
I don't know. I mean, I had like my
Hey,
my
you're
coughing.
welcome.
Thanks. Thanks for the lesson. I mean, what are friends for, right? Oh God, I don't know. I thought it was allergies actually, because we drove to Sedona after that. I landed in Phoenix on Tuesday
Right.
after that event. Drove to Sedona, windows open, dry, dusty. That tends to trigger my bronchial anyway. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh shit. I should not have, I should have asked them to roll up the windows. And it's like, no, you're good. Um, and then it just turned into this full blown like this, right? Full blown lost my voice. And then I'm like, oh, God damn it. And I always go to the energetic place, like, who do I need to talk to? What am I holding back on? Because sometimes that's part of it. Often that's part of it. I did have a difficult conversation. It went well, right? I'm getting my voice back. It comes and goes. I also have like physical shit I need to move and heal.
Hmm.
That was a long way of just saying I'm calling myself on my bullshit of like telling myself I need to rest when I'm sick because I didn't used to ever do that. And I would run myself to the ground and get worse and worse and worse. And now I'm to a point where it's like, yeah, you've given yourself enough grace. Fucking move already.
Hmm.
Right. And now I've attached it to the dream, which is a whole
Hmm.
nother level of like motivation. So yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
I like it.
Me too. Feels like a good place to wrap up. What do you think?
That's funny. I was just about to say those almost exact words.
Well, before we wrap it
Like,
up, I would like to know, I would like you to tell people how to find you, like best way to contact you, if you have a website, all that stuff.
oh, so you can get me on social media, Lee Aaron Smart, Facebook or LinkedIn are my two places. Best place to actually have a conversation with me, hop on my schedule, leasmart.com.
Nice.
We have a let's talk button. You can just hop right on my schedule. I always want to make sure that whoever I work with, that we have that first conversation. We have a real coaching session, 100% for free right out the gate, because I want
Yeah.
to make sure, one, I can serve the people that I'm working with. Two, I want to make sure we jive because coaching is built on relationships.
Yeah.
And if there's no connection, if there's no relationship, then it's not going to move forward, and it's not worth it for either one of us to try and force it.
Right.
So
It's one of the
just
reasons I love you.
yeah, easy button. Hop on my schedule, leasmart.com, and let's have that first coaching conversation and see where it goes.
I love it. Thank you. Thanks for spending time today. I appreciate it. You can find us at Hypothetically Intentional, Michelle Albers, or Jai D. It'll all be in the links of the things. So that's it for now. Bye. Be you every day.